now going to be hooking up my gauges and charging it up. We got the leak repaired. And we're also going to secure that capacitor better. Oh, it's bloody hot. Got my new Schrader valve caps for when we're finished. Make things better here. Making sure my gauges are all turned off up top here. Turn the unit on. Fuel piece on. Set the low side. Purge line. We'll hook up the low side here. Just want to set these vertical. Testing. And the T1 goes in here. So T2 for the high side. Second clamp here. It's better for them to be vertical. It's a more accurate reading. And the high side gauge. There we go. And we'll purge the high side also, so that when we're finished we can move things over. Any liquid refrigerant trapped in there. Okay. Woo. And we'll hook up to our refrigerant here. Line there. Okay, and then we'll purge the center port for refrigerant. There we go. Now we're ready to charge, and I'm going to go ahead and open it. That's going to let some of the Freon go in. And while that's going, I've discharge the capacitor here because we got the disconnect bolt, and then I'm going to secure that dangling capacitor up right here. Okay, so we're going to feed this is a military grade cable strap, nice and strong. I'm going to feed it through right here, in theory, or at least around this steel here. That'll work. Or just creating a spot to put that so it doesn't move around on anybody. It doesn't hurt to discharge that too. And look at that. We got a loose wire going to that cap. And I wonder if that's how this unit overheated to begin with. Okay, so I'm going to need to reset that capacitor wire here into the wire terminal. Wow, bloody hot. Hopefully I can get it in there. I may need to go get another terminal. This roof is too hot. It was a little bit cooler today. Man, want to make sure we've got all the wire strands here. Not good. Gonna take out this other capacitor while I'm here. Free that up. Oh boy, I tell you, it's hot. Whew. Well, if I stop sweating, I know I'm in trouble. Stop sweating yet. There we go. Crimp that down real good. Ah, we're on there. We were on there good. Darn it. Whew. Well, one way to get this done. Okay. What I'm going to do is take this from this hard start kit, and then I'll just wire connect these together. It's better to use wire strippers, but I don't have any with me, and I gotta get off this roof, and I gotta get these people air conditioning. They're dying. Okay. So we'll start over here. You just want to make sure you haven't lost any strands. That's the important part here. We have a good contact there. Can wire connect those together. Good. Now reset our deal here. That's nice and tight. Okay, and now it's back to just strapping this in here. It's not going to go anywhere. Just take that off so he pokes himself in the eye. Okay, now we're ready to charge it up. So I can plug my disconnect in. Fan motor should start up, compressor will start up. We're already charging. There we go. And you need the longer post on the left side. There we go. Fan motor started up. Compressor started up. And we're charging with Freon. Woo! Cell pressures will start to balance out here. Got to get our target superheat. Get some water while that's going. My goodness. Kind of overcast, but it's still plenty hot. A nice day. Mountains. Sweat's just dripping off of me. It's gonna be a fine day. Start this puppy up. It's already feeling way cold, cooler, a lot colder. Let's jump over here. Virtual saturation temperature, 21.2. This doesn't show us an accurate reading until we actually close the valve off, but gives us an idea. So here's our superheat offline. We're not there yet. But we're looking for about 8 to 15 degrees superheat. Superheat is the difference between the temperature at the evaporator coil and at the suction line right there. So showing 4 degrees superheat. We're getting there. So I'll turn this off and that'll give us the accurate measure. And we're looking at 8 to 15. We're almost there. Our PSI is almost there. Looking for 40 degrees at the evaporator coil. And also just the side test right here, you can see it's sweating to right here. We really want the whole thing to be cold all the way. So we're low on Freon. Once this raises up to about that level, then I know I'm good. I'll have to show you eventually traditional gauges versus these electronic gauges. These are pretty nice because they calculate a lot of things for you. Still nothing wrong with traditional gauges in my opinion. These I find slightly cumbersome setting up and taking down. I mean, you got more wires and everything, but again, that gives you more information. The compressor's getting a little hot on the top because it's been running so low on Freon. I'm going to add some cold water as well as to the high side lines. Cool things down a little bit. So our super cool is showing offline right now also. Turn these off and see where we're at. It's not our super cool, it's our sub cool. Yeah, that's the heat getting to me. It's so hot, the sweat's just running down out of my glove. We're getting there. You can see now on the accumulator, it's sweating all the way to the top, so we're definitely in much better situation here. Compressor's still really hot, so I'm running low. Add some more cold water there. Okay, so now you can see we're starting to climb on our subcool a little bit, which is good. So we're balancing out more to where we want to be. And again, we're looking for 8 to 15 on the superheat. And just a reminder, you won't get an accurate reading until you turn off the gauge. But just the fact that we're starting to show some numbers and we're climbing is a good sign. Start to see the rest of the pipe start to sweat a little bit here. on both sides. Again, ideal, I've got a capillary tube system, but at the evaporator coil, we're looking for a 40-degree temperature. And when it's this hot outside, that's going to translate to this line being nice and cold. You know, once you're over 100 degrees, you know, and your unit's been running for 5 minutes, it really needs to be cold here and right here at the compressor, because the refrigerant acts to help cool the compressor down. So our subcool started to climb there. Capillary tube system's pretty forgiving. You'd have to try to overcharge it. It takes, not that it's not possible, it is, but you know, if you're charging with vapor, your can upright, and you're feeling that line and it's getting nice and cold, you're probably not going to overcharge it. You can see my line's already nice and cold. And someone might even call this good, but we're a little bit low on the subcool. And not that with the capillary tube system, you're charging according to superheat anyway. But you're looking for 8 to 15 degrees superheat. You know, and the subcool just gives you an indication of where you're at. So I'm going to keep charging it a little bit, bring that subcool numbers up a little bit. The compressor is still very, very, very hot. Your level of refrigerant in your can when you're charging by how cold it is at what temperature. A lot of times you'll see like a frost line on the can, very similar to frost, the sweating I'm seeing. Not a frost sign, but sweat. on the plumbing there. Anyway, we're good here. Nice and cold. Showing sun is super cool. And I'd like to see that a little higher on the super cool, but it seems like we're going the other way on the superheat. I'd rather keep it right there, you know, about 8 degrees superheat. We're good. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off, which I did already. And I turn the can of refrigerant off. And here, I'll disconnect my high side hose. And I've got these quick connects on there, so it cuts off the refrigerant pretty quickly. Got my new caps here, ready to go. You want to wear gloves when working with refrigerant to prevent frostbite. So it seems like our repair worked there. No leaks there. And we're going to add our Schrader valve to act as a second gate there. And a quarter turn past tight is good. You know, or just hand tighten. And if you do need to tighten it with pliers, only a quarter turn past tight, but you really don't need it. You should be able to tighten it there. And we could bubble test this after, or use an electronic leak detector and bubble test that and prove that there's nothing going on there. Anyway, back at all our gauges, we've got liquid refrigerant trapped in this hose. What we want to do is draw that over into the compressor. We don't want to waste it. So we're going to open the high side line right here. You can see our pressure start to change here. And now what we'll do is we'll open the low side line and we'll just throttle it in. So I open the high side line here all the way. This one's closed off and the pressure's changed. And then we're going to throttle it in just by letting a little bit in at a time. What we're doing is just pulling that refrigerant that's inside this hose over into the system instead of releasing it into the atmosphere. Not good for our ozone layer. Just draw this over. We'll go until this shows in the PSI. Going to throttle it in a little time, give it a little, let it wait for a couple, give it a little. You see that PSI drop. Of it. At least it'll be a lot less. Okay, once that drops enough, then we can disconnect our low side. And we'll listen for any leaks there. We're okay there. And we'll use our caps. Cap these off. And it's a good idea to come back later with a bubble test and just bubble test here, you know, or electronic leak test right here to make sure we're good. But anyway, this unit's charged up and good to go. One more AC unit, good to go. All set there, nice and chilly. Depleting the heat. Good to go. Okay, now that we're all finished, we're turned off here. Gonna disconnect our hose. Turned off our refrigerant can. Disconnect our hoses. Unless you're going to charge another unit, which I'm not. I'm done for the day for this part, hopefully. You want to avoid trapping any refrigerant in the lines, so what we need to do is go ahead and purge the lines. I've got all the hoses open now, so anyway, we're just going to release the refrigerant. We want to keep anything from being trapped inside the lines. Anyway, we're all set there. Now I can put my gauges away, all my stuff away, good to go.